All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our day six of Finding Your Soulmate workshop. Again, I'm Bari Lyman, and I'm so excited to be here with you on this day
Come,
before
baby.
a long
Sorry.
weekend. Okay, so I'm just going to mute everyone. So we have had a really exciting week. We have been looking at so many things related to finding healthy love. And we started with the inner shifts. We really looked at the things that are holding us back and getting in our way. And these are things that we're really not even aware of. There are things that are going on in the background that do not let us be in our glory of finding love. And these things are always from the past. And that's the thing. We discovered that no one teaches us how to find healthy love. And that's why it's been so hard. We don't learn it in school. We don't learn it from dating sites. And 50% of our parents are divorced. And the truth is that for everything else, you guys, you have a plan. I know that you're methodical and you love, you tend to love creating results. And so that is what we're really talking about this week. Not only did we discover that we don't have a plan, we realized that there are conversations and there's an imprint from the past, from our childhoods, that have really been affecting us, even if we think that it hasn't. And it's very beautiful to be willing to be in a mindset as we go through this training and beyond, to be in a curious mindset that we may have done a lot of work on ourselves, and all of that work is fantastic. It's all good. I never would say that anything we've done in the past, from therapy to energy healing, is not good. But what I am saying is that sometimes it didn't get us to the finish line, and sometimes we need something different. Because if we don't uh, realize that, then we're saying there's no one out there. It's not in the cards for me. It's just, we look at, well, you know, uh, people say this to me on a daily basis. It's just going to work itself out. It has to. And to that I say, what does need to happen in order for it to work out is we need to go to the next level and choose to become a co-creator with our creator, right? Because so many of you are either religious or spiritual or whatever you believe. But at the end of the day, law of attraction alone doesn't do anything without the heart set, the mindset, and the skill set. So today, I want to give you a tour and I want to show you what it looks like to work together. And so we're looking to create readiness, right? True readiness, because when we're truly ready for something, then we're able to really make that happen because we have our ducks in a row. We have all of the pieces literally in place. And so, oh, Steph, please watch the waiting room. Cynthia just joined. Hello, everybody. Hi, Cynthia. Welcome. So we were just talking about putting all of the pieces in place for a complete plan. And the complete plan involves the inner shifts and the steps and the outer shifts. And in our program, the first phase happens quickly because it's rooted in effectiveness, it's rooted in reason, And so when we're operating from reason, not just optimism, and I joked around all week about delusional optimism, which is how, I used to operate, is like, I'm so enthusiastic. I'm all vision, but there was really no foundation. It was just that. It was just because when we either grow up in trauma or we've been disappointed enough times, we get on this roller coaster of exhaustion and suffering to coming out of that to it's got to work itself out. No, I'm so good. I'm a good person. God loves me. Yes, but there's still no alignment or congruence with the heart set, mindset, and skill set. So there's like a massive gap that we want to break out of. And I tell you what, once we break out of that and you start to see what you don't know. And that's the domain that we work in. And that is why change happens really quickly and why our clients say, wow, that was the best investment I ever made. Why? You get the transformation and the steps and the hand holding and the support. And really, you're getting what you never got in this particular context, right? Therapy could feel like, you're looking at the past, right? Energy healing. I did that, for years, but so there came a point when I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't want to just run around, spend time and energy and resources. And then, not to mention the investments in these really bad relationships. And when when I was in these bad relationships, it's like it's like a drug. It's like really like a drug. So who can relate to feeling like you're on this roller coaster of I just you just want it to work out. And we saw that yesterday with Stephanie when she shared her relationships, that one cheated and the other one wanted a polyamorous relationship, which is quite a recipe for feeling like not enough. And even though there's still like this craving, like uh, this incompletion. And it's really like an addiction. I hate to label things, but it's kind of like this DNA. I call the transformation a DNA spiral as we just expand ourselves. But the old way is very repetitious because it's very familiar. So what we do is we're really very focused on taking now a blank slate and new ownership, because if not, we're saying men want sex only, good ones don't exist, I'm too unique. But again, I want to bring to your awareness that there are dynamics going on that keep us from healthy love, even if we think it's out of our reach. And I want you to know that everyone I work with really does have some form of unresolved trauma, and especially if you know what that trauma is. So we do something in the program that is called Bye Bye Blind Spots. And Bye Bye Blind Spots We lead up to it in the first 3 modules where we learn a whole new perspective about love, about ourselves, about conscious love, about receiving. Another major thing that we do in this program is we clear incompletions. Okay. And I'm going to, talk a lot about that. The incompletions have to do with things from the past that you may think are resolved. Stephanie spoke to it when she said, I thought I had like a great childhood. And when we looked deeper, we could see things that she did not see. And these are things her really affecting, her self-worth. So what we do is something I've never seen before. And people go for years and years and decades without resolving this in the way that we do. So in module 2, we're looking at a new construct of creation. We look at getting complete from these incompletions, like X's. Maybe you're divorced, or maybe you've had quite a few breakups. Sometimes I work with people who've been divorced 3 times. Why? Because we're repeating a pattern. You don't think you're repeating the pattern because it's only in hindsight that we could see that. But you could be broken up, divorced for years. Sometimes there's the one you think got away. These things hold us back. So what we do is we redefine through our work together what completion actually means, what completion actually looks like. And everyone, without exception, never saw it the way we show it, to literally get complete, not by writing them letters or it's a process of a new understanding. And what that does, and that's what module 2 is about, is creating the inner space for love to thrive. And when we can really do that, that is when we're able to welcome in new love, healthy love. I wanted to give you a better sense of what we're doing. And then in module 3, we are doing bye-bye blind spots, which again is a 30,000-foot view. You fill out something called the reality check. You start to understand what happened in the past through your childhood love school. And through this session, you get new perspectives, you learn what your emotional needs are. And the beautiful thing is that from there, we don't leave it there. Okay. You don't even get this in therapy, right? We don't leave it there. We do the actual rational, cognitive embodiment work to free you, to uncollapse you from this past. It's really, really powerful. And that is why people say the entire investment for the program, bye-bye blind spots, was worth it. Okay. So some things sometimes people are thinking is, oh, Bari, maybe I'm just one of those people that, love is not in the cards for. And I am telling you, it is in the cards for you. It's in the cards for every single one of you, regardless of your age, regardless of how old you are, regardless of where you live. It really doesn't matter. Because like Cecile shared, because of the work we did and the inner space that we cleared, all that muck and heaviness about being cursed and voices from the past, and she was really able to tap into her truth and her true intuition, imagination. And when we're open in that way, raising our vibration, you know what happens? Everything gets better, literally, because you're thinking differently. You're not in that heaviness of that cortisol, right? That fight or flight survival thing. Like Steph shared, she was really overworking. She did not have freedom at work because the hidden people pleaser, like, was alive and well, right, Steph? We, by changing it, you can only imagine how much better life gets. So I want you to write down for yourself that if I exist, my soulmate exists. And it is in the cards for you. When? The day you make a decision to make the changes within yourself. And you've met all kinds of people. You met Cecily, right, who's in her 60s. You met Steph, who's in her 30s. You met Jen, right? And you're going to meet all kinds of other people in the, in the group. We shared many other clients of different ages and different backgrounds who shared their dreams, who have achieved this goal. And so now I want to bring up Hailey. And what's really special about Hailey is that she is also beautiful and she is a high achiever. Right. And she lives in San Francisco and she's originally from Australia. And you'll hear her beautiful accent. Hailey, thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Barry. Thanks very much for having me.
Of course. Always really appreciate you so much. So Hailey got married recently. And so before we get into all that good stuff, would you share with everyone what your love life was like before we worked together?
Yeah, and I think I joined your thing during COVID, but it wasn't because of COVID that I joined. Yeah, no, I just had been bouncing around single for a long time. Occasionally I would meet someone who I thought I really liked, and that person just didn't reciprocate pretty much the way they should have, or the way, and so I was sort of, I think, I'm a very alpha person, so I was probably going after the person that I thought I needed.
Right.
But that person wasn't probably the right person in terms of the right type. So maybe they were almost competitive with me and not complimentary. And, that whole idea about your emotional statement, your empowering statement, and how they make you feel, versus what you think you want. So it was sort of just tough because, and I felt like meet people who were not leaning in and not committed. And, I'd be on dating apps, and the idea that you would actually put out there what you want. Oh my gosh, I never probably did that, because you're always like, well, you don't want them to think you're desperate. But I learned some things from Barry's course about that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So what had you ultimately um, make the decision that I do want to help? Like yeah.
Yeah, I guess because I saw your something about you have the first call, and I thought, yeah, that was interesting. I saw the ad on Facebook, but I remember thinking, well, this looks interesting because we sort of had the first call. I knew I was doing it wrong. I'd had a really tough relationship with someone who actually kind of ripped me off, defrauded me.
Oh,
And that was quite damaging. That happened about 2 years before. And yeah, I just felt like I was in this rut, to be honest. And I was like, wow, I need to do something about this. And maybe I need to study. Maybe there's a course. I didn't think therapy. Oh, I will say one thing. I didn't think for me, therapy was the answer. I
right.
needed something practical. So,
Well, as a high achiever and as a woman in corporate and now developing your own startup, you're used to structure, right? Goals, steps, right?
Used to that, yeah. And I also thought therapy, you go and you talk, but for me, that didn't work. I wanted somebody to give me advice and say, well, this is, and so like this practical step-by-step process, which is how you mapped it out. I thought that was really cool because it was actually just really practical and almost funny in a way that it was so practical, if that makes sense. Almost
Right,
hilarious. Like, how do you make your love life so practical? But it kind of worked, I think.
right, right. And so now you have this plan. And what were some of the ahas that you noticed? Were there like surprises maybe about yourself, about the past? You don't have to go into like the gory details, but
Mhm.
like some of
Well,
the, yeah.
I think things like the empowering statement I thought was very interesting. And I think the aha moment came when I was doing, is it dating boot camp? I think it's called. And I had my spreadsheet and I had all the people on there and I was doing my first meetings and my second meetings. And I actually had somewhere that this is the aha moment when I met my husband because I was on, he didn't even make it on the spreadsheet actually, because I was doing the dating apps and everything. And there was two people, he's in the other room, so if he doesn't hear this, there were two people in particular. There was him and this other guy. And he was kind of just hanging around the background because I wasn't really considering I was dating him or, I wasn't sure, he was very different to me, but I noticed that I wanted to, I went on a kiteboarding like a training thing for 3 days, an intense one. And I felt like at the end of the day, I actually more wanted to call my husband than the guy I was supposedly dating. And I'm like, well, that's weird. Why am I trying to do that? And I'm like, well, that's the empowering statement kicking in because he makes me feel better than the other guy. And that was a really big aha moment about the empowering statement. I think that's really important. You should listen to it.
Yeah.
The vision boarding I thought was really good. The dating camp. And the other bit for me was the put it out there and put exactly what you're looking for. Holy crap, that was like enlightening. Like, you're absolutely right. Put it out there. I don't want the time wasters. And
Right.
yet we're shamed into thinking we shouldn't ask for what we want. So I think that was wonderful. I think that was great. And I sort of still try to advise my friends to do that now, who most of them have given up on honestly that dating, those dating apps, but which is a shame.
Not everyone is like you and like the people here who are like, if it's not working, I'm gonna get some support because it's ultimately
Mm,
a lot of people do already put it out there, but they're putting
mm.
it out there on the wrong vibration and then attracting still the same wrong people, right? And then saying there's no one out there,
Well, you
right?
can't be saying there's no one out there. That's not the answer. But you can never say that because that's just the wrong, as you say, energy. Yeah.
Exactly.
And the other thing I found was that meeting all the other women in the group was like, I'm not the only one. This is all happening to other people too. Or this is a process. But I was single for a long time and I feel like I had high standards. And even now that I'm with my husband, I'll like I'm fundraising and I'm looking up for my startup and I'm looking up for these people I've met and I know I'm like, oh, yeah, that person I might have thought, but no, I wouldn't. That guy's got huge. And I went to an event in November for Christmas and I went to this thing and I met all these guys who, I never dated really any of them, but like they were just all hanging around. And to me, they were just totally the wrong guys for me. But I might have even thought of them as options later. And I'm like, I realized why, now that I'm with my husband, why they were wrong for me.
Exactly. And that's where it's like a blind spot. We don't even know what we don't even know. So I hear this all the time from grads or people in the program, like, ew, they were no good for me. And that's all tied, remember, to the past and our self-worth and all of that. So beautiful. So, tell us a little bit more about you were thinking about Andrew, like, oh, he wasn't necessarily, but you had a new empowering statement. So, what did you discover about why he's good for you and how
I
it
think
makes
he,
you feel? Yeah.
I think he compliments me. He's like my biggest fan. And then that's the first thing. I'm very like self-indulgent. Um, I'm very much the leader in what I do, probably. And that's what's going to make me successful as a CEO of my startup, I think, because I've got a very clear vision on what I want. And I'm very, especially creatively. But yeah, no, I think it was back to that day. It was just sort of like it just gelled. We just kind of connected, and he just was very friendly and warm, and actually very loving and helpful and sweet and human, and
Human.
not holding barriers up. That was the thing. He wasn't holding any barriers up. He definitely wasn't playing any games. It could have been because he'd been married for so long, he didn't know how. But no, actually, he told me later on that no, there'd been women he'd been dating, he'd been single for a couple of years. And no, he honestly, I mean, he'd probably been acting like some of those guys to me, to other
Yeah.
women. I don't think so, but I really don't think he did. But I do think there's this whole thing about, okay, oil and water, right?
That's
Don't mix.
and
So,
unconsciously we attract people because we don't even really know what we need necessarily, right? We attract
mm,
people who make us feel kind of the way we felt in the past, in childhood, right? So, but we kind of still draw that in and don't know why. So, Andrew, when you're with him, like, how do you feel with him versus other people you dated?
I just think comfortable, and like we have a lot of fun, and we were watching some TV show last night that was so silly. It was so funny. And yeah, just comfortable, and like I can say, do you want to do this? And he'll like, hell yeah. And but other guys would be like, well, I've got this on and that. And like they want to be the one leading. And he's not like that. He'd be like, I mean, I'm sure there's limits, but like if I suggest we do something, he's always in for it. He's always down for it. And I think
Mm.
that's really because I'm a real doer and go getter, and like, and I think, yeah, so that's sort of important because I have dated other people where they'd almost like it's like a power thing. And they
Yeah.
probably try to exert power over me, like, well, no, I've got, this on, or I don't know. And it's sort of weird because I'm just wanted to enjoy my life with someone and spend time with them. The other thing is he really loves spending time with me. So actually having someone that wants to spend time with you, it's kind of ironic. But I have dated men who really don't. Like they want, and obviously that means that they're unavailable, to me.
Exactly, exactly. And there's a whole dynamic about why we do that. But for this conversation, it sounds to me like you're feeling chosen and you're feeling loved, right? You're feeling deeply connected and seen and safe and comfortable, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
I love that. So now your life is totally different. So what are you most excited now about your relationship with him and what you're building together?
I think the other thing that like being with Drew, and I wish we'd met years before, and is that like I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now if I didn't have Drew. It sounds funny, but having the support of someone really important who is there for you, because I took a leap of faith to do this startup thing I'm doing, and it was very encouraging to have someone encourage me.
You
Yeah,
bring up such a good point. My husband is the same way. You could be a power woman in corporate, you could be, but at the end of the day, we all want to feel supported. We all want to
mm,
feel encouraged. Who wants to do this alone? Do life
yeah,
alone, right? My
yeah.
husband who is such a cheerleader, right?
And
Yeah.
also, he had this way with my second cat. I'm a cat lady. That's what they call a single woman, as a cat lady. But I have two of them, which I accidentally fostered. And there was one that no one could get near. My father, no one, like, he didn't like my roommate of 3 years. He just wouldn't go near him. And I had to go away for 5 days up to Alaska. And he sent me a picture of this one cat, totally on his back and with him tickling his stomach. And I said, what? How did you break in notches? How did you do that? And you know what his answer was? He goes, oh, I just watched how you pat him and you handle him, and I just did the same thing. And I thought that was very intuitive and astute, because that was a very sort of, he's wired differently. Like he watched the behavior of, and honestly, that cat loves him now. It's so funny because now that cat is more, and this cat's like 8 years old now, but back at the time he was 6 years old, and he was a very timid, and now that cat is friendly to other people more and more and more. So he's really come out of his shell, and it's because of Drew. He loves Drew. He loves me more, obviously, but Drew's a good second best.
That is so funny. And
It's not the
it's,
same as him liking your kids, but it's because I don't have kids. But yeah,
but animals are very good judges of character too,
they are.
right? They know. So you're speaking of, and I can relate to this. We have, four pit bulls and, the whole thing. When I met my husband, I too was a dog and a cat lady, right? So it speaks to sharing values, someone leaning into you, and it's your family. It's still your family, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. They are my family. Yeah. And that's why I was so impressed. I was
It
very
is.
impressed.
And in a conscious relationship, it only gets better because you're there for each other. He really sees you. It keeps growing, keeps growing. It
Mhm.
only deepens. So here, we're on a in a workshop about creating results in love and finding your soulmate. We're opening our eyes to having a plan. So, what would you tell all the people who are watching this about, investing in mentorship and a plan? What would you want
Yeah.
them?
Yeah. I have a plan because I really met Drew. Was it 6 months after I did the dating camp? Remember, I dated the wrong person. I dated with someone that was wrong. And I did. And I was actually quite heartbroken because he said things but he didn't do things. And I had a conversation with Bari, and she's like, no,
Get
he's
rid
not the
of
one.
them.
And ironically, I met Drew because of an action I'd taken to keep that relationship together. So it was a bit of fate. So I do think sometimes believe in the path and follow the path and follow the cause and make the hard decisions and realize the hard realizations that are real. Like that other guy was not the right guy. And ironically, they were from the same very small town in Colorado. That's what's really kind of weird, but didn't know each other. But isn't that weird? Very small town in Colorado. And then Drew came along. So I just say, stick with the program, keep going. And it's the same for me with doing my startup, right? You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. And every date's a chance to meet and learn something from someone. So I always think dates and stick with that whole program of dating boot camp, because I think eventually, and the other last thing I'd say is like the person you might end up with may not end up making it on the spreadsheet. He is not on the spreadsheet.
And right, exactly, because we're operating now from reality, reason, but also intuition and divine providence, right? So because Andrew was at that ski house and
Right.
he was always there, he was showing
Well,
up
apparently he was intentionally always there when I was there. He was always turning up when I was there. That's why he was always there. He was always there when I was there.
because he was claiming you.
Yeah, he was.
He
Yeah.
was claiming you. And that's like what your king ultimately really does. And you can't stop it because it's so good. But we don't know that. It's not the familiar. We're used to the adrenaline and the chase and the
Yeah.
trauma and the drama. So we have to clear that so that you can let good love in. Or people say, well, I don't know. I never met the right one, but you may have and didn't recognize.
Yeah. I wonder, like I look back, there were men in my life where I thought, God, why didn't that one work out? Or why didn't this guy work out? Like I think he liked me. Maybe I could have liked him back, but maybe I didn't at the time. And I don't I look back at some of those people and men, and I'm like, they probably obviously just weren't thinking about me the same way. Two
Right.
people have to think about each other exactly the same way at the right time and have the
Ex-
right circumstances. So I do think if Drew was married with his kids, or even if he was divorced with his young kids, I don't think it would have worked out. I don't know.
no.
I think it would have been very hard because the kids get in the way big time. He has three kids, but they're grown up. And even
It's
they get in the way sometimes, but
right.
no,
It's all divine timing. So you're a
it
business,
is.
you're developing a startup. Um, Hailey's developing a startup for ski houses that's like Airbnb called
It's
Bubbles.
not it's not just ski houses, it's any event or vacation or experience or even a masterclass. It's called Bubble, and it's for people to have these shared experiences in groups together. And it's based around like probably sharing a house or sharing some accommodation. And
We're gonna
so that yeah, I think the week of love, we're going to set up a bubble for Bari. But the cool thing is that I met Drew in a bubble. I mean, every startup has a founder story, and my founder story was that I was running ski houses for 8 years. I hosted over 200 people, but I met Drew in a summer bubble, a summer house that I joined someone else's bubble. That was what was funny about it. I wasn't having to be the organizer, so I hadn't met him because he applied. I met him just in the kitchen, and that's a true founder story. And many people have met in my bubble, so it's a good way to meet people. Join a bubble.
And so as a founder, you understand like investing in yourself. So when you look at a
Hmm.
clear path to true healthy love, it had pretty good ROI, huh?
It did. It did. And the vision board, I showed Drew the vision board. We did a vision board for our patio remodel recently too. I'm like the vision boarding process, we created that vision board and they're still here sitting in my bedroom right to the right here. I've still got them. So we got married, I'll call it a city hall wedding because I
Yes.
want to be an entrepreneur and Drew enabled me to do that. But also we're going to get married in Australia in a bigger ceremony when we can get, when my start off takes off a little bit. Yeah.
Right. Right.
In
So
a proper
that's,
wedding with my family. Yeah.
and I bet they love him.
They do. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I'm sure. He's so sweet. We'll share
Yeah.
pictures of Hailey and Drew, your beautiful wedding picture.
Yeah, the
Yes,
wedding was great. We shipped that in 2 weeks. Planned it and did it in 2 weeks.
my husband and I did something like that in Israel. It got planned in
Oh,
like 2 weeks
no,
also.
that's amazing.
It's amazing. We don't need the hoopla. We need the love. We just need
Yep.
the person and the connection. And that's really it. That's what we
Mm,
need. Ah, right. So I think that's the message that it's really spiritual. And a lot of what we don't even realize that's having us choose the wrong people. Like this is not just about this, is not vision boarding. That happens way, way later. It's the foundational work that has us understand, like what I was saying earlier about our value, clearing the blind spots. That's what gives us the clarity to then go into dating camp. And we're
mm.
so happy for you, Hailey and Andrew. It's really such a sweet story. So thank you
Thanks,
for
Bari.
sharing with us. And we're excited to do Bubble with you in 2025. Meet experience. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, good luck with all of that. And thank you so much. And we'll keep track of you guys.
All right. Thanks, everyone, and all the best and good luck and keep going.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
I really,
perfect.
I really, I really, I really want more of my friends to do this course. Because I think there's a lot of value, not just the dating side, but the whole life side, like I was saying. And that's kind of, I do give credit to Barry's course for helping me get the courage to go and do my startup, as well as, all the other stuff. So that was a bigger picture thing. So good luck,
Right.
everyone.
The ROI of investing, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, all right, Hailey. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank
All
you.
right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, everyone. So that was another sweet love story. We'll share Hailey's photos. I always get so moved because it's she got the courage to create her startup. She would never have recognized someone sweet like Andrew. My husband is very much like that. I see my husband in like so many of these love stories that we see. So, what stood out for you guys about what did you like about Hailey's story? Like what stood out? What did you notice? I would love to know in the chat if you were moved, if you could see yourself in Hailey. I know for me, I was really going after the wrong people. And it's the inner shifts that we don't talk about on these interviews, what happens in trauma. It's almost like you forget about it. Once it's handled, we're kind of out of that story because it's handled. And then it's just about, okay, I step into my fullest sense of self and we get the courage to create a startup, work and life gets better. Like I was saying, our health gets better. So, okay. So, what I want to do right now in our last few minutes is I'm going to share my screen and I want to show you uh, a little bit more about, to give you a better sense of what we do in the program and what that actually looks like. So, who would like to see that? Who would like to see our members area to get a better feel of what this looks like? Let's see. Okay. Her husband supports her. That's right, Cynthia. And that's really what it's like to have a partner who is, we always say, like, your partner in crime, the one who has your back. Uh, it is so prototypical of all the love stories on the wall. People want to be on this wall, so we have like 100 more we have to put up there. So I want to show you what our members area looks like, so you get a better feel. Okay, and as soon as you log in, this is what you see. You see our members dashboard. So as soon as you register, you get a welcome email that gives you all the steps to get started powerfully. Oh, that was Sharon. Okay, Lisa, thank you. Um, and then we have a kickoff call that happens. And in that kickoff call, we're setting goals. You start to see things you never thought were possible. So it's very structured. Like Hailey was saying, it's ridiculously structured. And I know I appreciated that after all of the therapy and energy healing and things that were optimistic, but not really structured. And then you see your welcome video, and everything again is a step-by-step plan. And then we step into our phase one, which is meet to marry. In module one is the meet to marry essentials. And then as soon as you go in, you go into the curriculum. And our curriculum is quite rich. And we do module one, really week one. We do module 1 and 2. We dive into marriage readiness. We get into a lot of the big distinctions. Module 3 is about making space for love. And when you go into a module, how it works is this: there's a video, and under the video, there are action items. And then there's a mindset training. And these videos they're very digestible. They're about 7 minutes, they're 10 minutes. They don't take long, but they're very on the money in terms of what I want you to take away. So, for example, there's what my commitment is to you, and then you're proceeding through the next session. You have here are action items that you do that come to me in my inbox. We have accountability weekly every Sunday. You have an accountability partner. And then we have our Facebook forum. That is the secret group that's just for the members of the community. And then we are doing calls every week, twice a week, and we could see the list of what's really happening on this page. So if you haven't seen this page, I recommend that you do. It's meettomarry.com/healthy love plan. And basically it's all covered over here. Like, you're not the problem. Your approach to dating is, right? And how I have been there. And it's a clear path to true healthy love. Okay. And you can click to join, or if you have questions, then book a call with me. Okay. And we don't do the superficial. We are not about anything superficial. We're about what is really and truly right for you, and inviting that in. And inviting that in looks like physically inviting in the right people, but also energetically inviting in the right people. And you now have language. So you know how to have a meaningful, very specific conversation with the right people. Okay. And so there are more love stories here. We posted, this is Jacqueline Brown. She 5 kids, always dated awful men. And she's a therapist, and she was really stuck for a long time. So you could check out all these stories. And the truth is, you have a plan for everything else. Dating should not be different. Okay. And so what happens is that it's got a combination of group and one-on-one coaching, but the group coaching is like this, except that we're all, I am coaching you. And as they all shared, you start to see that you're totally not alone. You're not alone. This is a human thing. And the irony is the more of a more of a goal-oriented person that you are, the more people are attracted to this, because billionaires have mentors that are billionaires, right? So you always want to have support of someone that is way, way ahead of you, that's done it 1,000 times, that's walked in your shoes. And so that is why it's a combination of group, with me facilitating, you get what you need, and you get what you need, and you get what you need. Then we're doing bye-bye blind spots together, and you are left full. No one walks away with any question or hungry. And so we coach on 1 day a week on the first phase. And then on another day of the week, we have a call about mindset. And the mindset supports you for what you're learning in an even deeper way. It's all very practical. Each touch point is designed for aha moments and breakthroughs as you leave old stuck ways of thinking and rediscover yourself and your truth. Okay, is everyone with me? So this is not a do-it-yourself course with lectures and how to hypothetically find love. Everyone finds love. Okay. So again, here are the 2 phases. People tell me phase 1 is worth the entire investment. Okay. Because of the transformation that happens quickly. You don't need all these other things that you've been doing. So the things you've been investing in, you just won't need them. Why? You come out of this in an embodiment. You know how to think. You stand in a place of receiving, which is different than I'm independent. I'm independent. It's a very different energy where you're operating from reason and clarity and choosing and boundaries. And then phase 2, in and of itself, is a complete dating plan. You learn every single thing. It's 6 modules in and of itself. It is coaching another day of the week. So the first phase is different coaching than the second phase. The second phase is about your soulmate invitation profile. But before that, you're getting into dating mindset because you hated dating before. So now it becomes very exciting because you learn how to create a dating pipeline of only the right people. Okay. So you can read through this. So as soon as you join, we FedEx you a companion guide and some other gifts that you're going to use. You get a text every day. We're doing bye-bye blind spots workshop. That's one-on-one. We're getting coaching twice a week. You have an accountability partner. You have progress calls. It's very immersive, but freeing. And if you're worried about how much time you need a week, you just need a couple of hours a week, just a couple of hours. Some people do a little bit every day. Some people just do their love work on the weekends. We customize it for your calendar, your schedule, your lifestyle. Sometimes I have clients that have 5 kids. Sometimes people work a couple of jobs, right? So it really depends on you. Okay. So, and as far as the investment, there's a lot of ways of doing it in terms of, and we can definitely talk about that, but you can read about it, and more love stories. So again, phase one, we remove the blocks, and phase two is the the empowered dating plan for finding your soulmate. So, so I have a scheduled for Sunday. I have a bonus training, and I would love to know if I know some of you said that you can make it. Some people said you can't. So let me know if you can make it, because I was thinking to maybe move it to Tuesday night. But regardless, if please book your call. And if you've been thinking about having a plan for love, if you decided that now is your time to be done wasting time on things that are not bringing in your king, not bringing in your partner, and you want to, connect with me and others, it's an intimate setting, then definitely book your call. And if you click on, yes, Sharon, we are scheduled for a private call, no problem. We have worked with people like of all backgrounds, of every single kind, every single age. And Cynthia can make it on Sunday. Good. Yeah. 12 noon is church time. So that's no big deal. Yeah, I get that. We're going to change it up in the future, but we can speak, Lisa, after, when you get back. Okay, perfect. All right. So thank you all so much for joining me. If you have questions, book your call. Go to that page. We've been posting it with the recordings. Yes, we do. Oh, okay, beautiful. I didn't even know that. Okay, good. Perfect. Okay, fabulous. All right, guys. So have a great day. And one of the bonuses is a retreat here in our property in Homestead, Florida. Also a bonus month, which is just fantastic to be getting support, and also a dating profile workshop, a soulmate invitation. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you, those who can make it, on Sunday. And I look forward to seeing you on our calls. All right, guys. Mwah. Big love. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again.
All right.